So I recently noticed that my main pressure tank gauge on my Makita compressor doesn't work anymore. So I decided to take it apart and take a look what we can see.
Of course, I also went online real quick and checked out what the replacement part would cost.
So the way these things work is that main tank pressure gets piped into this manifold here. And at the very end, invisible on the camera, is a small hole that travels diagonally down into this block at the bottom, in through the hole, and then through a small tiny hole down into here, and it connects to what's on the back side of this. On the back side we have this, what I think is brass or copper ring that is hollow on the inside. You can tell that by the fact that it is actually crimped shut right where it is soldered there. And so as pressure enters that hollow, it wants to straighten out, just like a balloon. And then that straightening out actuates the little levers and the gear and sort of moves the dial there. Now the first thing I looked at is obviously whether everything is connected, but everything is totally fine connected. The solders are holding up. So the only thing I can think of is it's plugged. And so I noticed this conspicuous blob of solder at the bottom here, and I filed it away, and you can see that little plug right in the middle of the solder. So I think what happens is they solder this ring in, and once it's soldered in, they take a tiny little drill bit, drill out, and make the connection between the brass and the copper pieces, and then they fill it back up with solder to plug it. Now it's already not working, so I might as well give it a try. I'll drill it out and maybe I can bring it back to life. So I just used this little Dremel tool here with the smallest drill bit I had, and I drilled out this plug and I punched right through back to the compressor and hooked it actually up to air, and we get a lot of air gushing through here. So all that tells me is that the connection inside this, I'm just going to call it a brass manifold, is actually good, and that the issue might be in this copper ring. So the air that comes through this block, and it's supposed to connect into the inside of this block, or this ring. Maybe that connection is just blocked, despite it being open to the outside. So I have connected this inside of this block to the outside, but it's actually not going in there because the needle is just not moving at all. So I think I'm just going to go drill a second hole, or maybe make this hole larger, and see if I can somehow get a connection into here. I drilled out this top hole a little bit more, and I now was able to get this welding rod, welding this MIG wire actually in, and I'm now going around the corner and into the brass piece here. So we now have a connection. So let's see if it does something if I put air to it. Okay, so I'm connecting it to the original connector here. This is where the gauge should be sitting. Obviously, we have a wide open hole at the top here right now, so if I turn the compressor on, well, we got it working. The question is whether we are going to be able to seal up that top port where it's leaking out of right now without clogging that inside passage again. So I'll try my soldering skills. So I just looked up the soldering temperature for brass, and it should be around 450 degrees Celsius. When I tried to remove the plug that was in there with my soldering gun, it didn't melt that type of solder. That's a difficult word. So I'm going to give it another go. You know, it's working again. The mechanical parts are fine, but I might not be able to plug up this hole satisfactorily. So, oh well, it was already broken. We tried, and we learned something. We're not done. We're going to keep going. All right, we're hooked up again. Soldering job, half-assed. Let's see if it works. Okay, we're building pressure. I'm hearing a tiny bit of a hiss, but I think it's from this fitting actually. Yeah, I can't hear anything from up here. Ooh, still warm. So let's put it together and see what happens. Woohoo! Let's put it back in. Well, look at that. Main pressure gauge indicating and holding. And I don't even hear any hisses. But I guess this concludes this little unexpected repair. I really enjoy diving into something before going on eBay and finding the $18 solution to a little problem. Definitely learned something and fixed the gauge. What'd you fix today? Thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you next time.